Could you please just clarify for the audience what's the difference between disinformation and misinformation, and which was
Okay.
more prevalent during the campaign?
Disinformation are information that is deliberately false with the intent to deceive the audience, while misinformation could be errors made by those covering the news. It could be news that lacks context or needs clarification.
So which was more prevalent, or which has become more prevalent in the previous campaign?
Based on the results of our verified information, there's more disinformation than misinformation. So there's more in our ratings of the information that came out, there are more news that came out as false rather than those that say need context or are misleading. So we rated the various information with certain, the false would mean it's totally erroneous or even there's no truth in it. Misleading would be there's an implication that might not be the actual meaning of the
Wrong context.
wrong context. No? And then there's needs context, meaning the statement could be true but taken out of context.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the no basis, meaning it's a statement that you can't verify.
Yeah, but Rachel, this is all obviously now people use fake news as a convenient handle to refer to all of these things, and we'll get to defining that.
Right.
But before we get to that, all of these problems, kulang sa context, mali ang context, unverified, these are all old problems. I mean, let's face it, this has been going on even before social media.
True. But now the spread is very significantly faster. The people that could be reading this information is more than can be measured, because it's not only the sources of news don't necessarily come from the media, but through user-generated content. So it's really very hard to track who is starting the ball rolling and who is spreading the news.
So this is not just news items on unknown news organizations. This is anything that you can see on social media that can go can potentially be shared or even go viral.
What we did was to track. Let's see. What we did was to check information not just on mainstream media, but basically what we measured was the algorithms of social media and where it was coming from.
So which were the most popular platforms on regular media and on the internet platforms?
Well, fake news in general was shared mostly on social media, some through candidate websites, some through public figure websites. Mostly it was through Facebook, which is still, because it's the #1 social media in the country. But Twitter, Instagram, YouTube were also used.
Okay, now it comes in the forms of what? I mean, let's get into the definition of fake news, because even your press release, I mean, the headline refers to it blanket, I mean, quote unquote fake news. Is there a difference? I mean, what does it fake news specifically refer to?
All right, what we measured here were the majority of what we found were in infographics, which means memes, charts, polls. So that was the at least 30+% of the fake news that we measured were from infographics. Next came photos. These were repurposed photos, meaning photos that were real, but taken out of context and used in another way, or sometimes manipulated photos.
Now, for example, it could be a very old photo from a long time ago, and then they make it look current.
Yes.
So in that sense, it's a real photo.
It's a real photo.
But the context is what would categorize it as fake news.
Yes. Sometimes they manipulated. For example, the one that came after the elections, where there's a photo of Maro has meeting some OFW voters, and that photo showed a lady handing him lasso, like
Magbigti ka na lang.
magbigti ka na lang, ganon. But the real photo doesn't have that rope.
So they were
It
mostly
was-
for negative campaigning.
Yes.
It's not for EPAL purposes like
No.
to,
yeah.
to, to promote oneself.
Right.
It's mostly attacks on rival
It was
candidates.
mostly attacks.